A hanging man candlestick has formed on a weekly chart of S&P 500. I think profit taking could start at any moment. I'll explain how I arrived at that conclusion. We will look at dollar and gold relationship as dollar is testing a breakout while gold is retesting its support break. Oil has moved above 60s and held support there and moved higher. So looks like oil could be set for a move higher now. All this and more in today's edition of MasterChartsTrading.com market recap for Friday, February 16, 2024. You can see I'm recording this on Sunday. I apologize for the delay. As always, please remember to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, share this video, make any comment that you would like, and you can ask any questions as well. This is what keeps this channel going. Thank you for your actions. If you're a subscriber, stay tuned. We're going to be covering quite a bit of various securities. For example, market breadth is going to be covered in the members only section. We will cover some ETFs as well as some of the foreign ETFs, some of the large cap stocks, and some of the speculative securities that we trade. Throughout the presentation, I'll be using my proprietary MasterChartsTrading.com market indicators, trading indicators, which you can see on this chart. This green, blue, red, and yellow lines. You can find out more about them by going to the description of the video, and you can sign up for them on my site. S&P 500, we're looking at the daily chart first, basically moved towards new records, and it's again trading next to new records. So far there's plenty of buyers, very little sellers, and this is despite this gap down between the 12th and 13th of February. This gap down was closed almost immediately, and we're again near the record. So this is obviously a very bullish market, very good if you're a person who thinks that the stocks will continue higher. Where do we need to worry about profit taking? I'll get to in just a second. So let's look first on the weekly chart, and I just want you to take a look at this candlestick, and this is the candlestick that I'm referring to, this week's candlestick. Notice the way it's formed. We have a basically this is a hammer candlestick, but since it is at the top of the range, so we moved higher, from the lows here in October, we continued to move higher, we made another high, and now we're at the top of the range, and we formed this hammer candlestick, which basically is a long shadow of the bottom, a small real body, and a small shadow of the top. So for all practical purposes, this is a hammer, but because it is at the top of the range, we moved higher to the top of the range. It's called a hanging man candlestick. You can find out more about various candlesticks by going to the chart school, and you can search for example, hanging man candlestick. So there it is. Now, usually hanging man candlesticks imply that we're reaching a top of some sort, and it is obvious that we have moved significantly higher from October lows. So now I want you to kind of pay attention to this pattern that I am going to outline. And so this pattern is basically we have moved just this pattern right here. The one that I'm referring to right here is this V-shaped pattern formed by the July 2023 highs, October 2023 lows, and again by the December 2023 highs. Then finally here in the mid-December, we see a breakout to new all-time highs. So this pattern it's like a classic sort of pattern where we can say that since the it's a good way to estimate how far the move will go after the breakout, and the depth of this pattern, this V-shaped pattern, is around 12% or about 500 points. So we have moved almost that much. We have moved about 430 points. And we're basically approaching that level where people would, I mean, this is an obvious pattern. So traders will say, okay, you know what, we moved a pretty good chunk and I have a very nice profit. So I want to take some profits. And I think that this at this point, and we're about a percentage point away from the target of about 5,100 or so, 5,100 or so. And so usually, people say, okay, let's take some profits for the positions that we have open. And we're there. We're basically there. So I think this hanging man candlestick also is another, how do you call it? Another piece of the puzzle, another part of the information where we can say, okay, we're approaching this target. And I think at this point, we need to start thinking about taking profits. So we are taking profits at MasterCharts Trading. We are still long. I'm personally still long. So here is SPY, S&P 500. I actually bought back in October. I sold about half of my position in January, but I still have about half of my position remaining. And if we see further top-in pattern, so I think that this hanging man candlestick is basically potential beginning of a top-in pattern. And top-in patterns could take a while. So let's pretend that we are indeed topping out. What would be a good pullback target? So let's look at what happened back in 2023, in July of 2023. So basically, we had a previous signal in April and maybe even in January of 2023, and then we moved higher towards, at that time was a previous record back in July of 2023. We started, we topped out and then we continued lower. We pulled back. Where do we pull back? We pulled back towards this blue support resistance line. So these lines provide a very convenient opportunity for you to enter on the long side if you want to buy. You can also use my lines to take profits. You can also use my lines to set a stop. But for our purposes right now, we need to look for where we're gonna pull back to. What is the pullback target? Let's just say for a second that we have indeed tapped out, or maybe we're about a percentage point away from from the topping out, similar to what happened back in 2023 July. So a pullback would be a normal, healthy development, and a pullback towards around the blue line would actually make perfect sense. So let's just say for now, if we pull back towards the current current blue line levels would be, so let's just say that we're gonna actually pull back now into, let's say, I don't know, June is pretty far out, so let's say we pull back into like April, and you can see it's gonna be, if it turns out to be what I'm right, then it should be a relatively sharp pullback, okay, towards the blue line. So at that point, again, the opportunity would be to buy, just as we did back here in November. But for now, we haven't gotten any signals yet that we're indeed topping out. We're just saying that there's a possibility of that because we're seeing this big weekly candlestick, looks like a hanging man. There's also a possibility of that because we're reaching this target. Will it actually happen? There is no way to know that. For now, we're enjoying this run higher, but being cognizant that it's a very strong possibility that we'll be pulling back pretty soon. And once that happens, that will become another buying opportunity. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's move on to the dollar universe and Forex universe. So we're looking right now at DXY, dollar currency index. Dollar currency index was, you can see there was a bunch of whipsaws. So we had first, back in October of 2023, we had a bullish signal to buy the dollar. Then it completely unraveled, and back in December of 2023, we actually got a bearish signal to sell it short, and you were able to make some money here. But notice how it's very interesting that at the top it bottomed out exactly at the yellow line. Okay, so I'm not making up. This is an actual mathematically calculated line. All right. So it did bottom out here in December of 2023 and then went on a pretty strong rally. So right now, notice that we actually broke out into a new uptrend. And there's the breakout in February of 2023, in February of this year, just a few days ago, actually, on the 13th of February. So a stronger dollar should weigh on commodities of all sorts, but mostly it should weigh on gold, because gold is traded in dollars, XAU divided by USD. So if the lower part of this equation, USD, US dollar, is getting bigger, okay, it's moving higher, XAU divided by USD, this bottom part of this equation, is getting bigger, it will pull this currency pair lower. It is indeed what's happening. The gold has sort of tapped out here in December of 2023, last year, with this big giant shooting star candlestick, and then pulled back, continued to trade sideways, pulled back. Finally here, I think we're seeing a breakdown right there on the 13th of February. I think this was it. So a few days ago, on Tuesday of this week, of last week's action, you can see that we moved strongly below this previous lows, and also below this blue support resistance line. So when a stock or security is above the blue line, and we want to keep buying it. In fact, we'll keep buying gold. Notice up arrows just around the blue line. So actual alerts, we're buying gold here. Okay, but now there is a chance if dollar continues to strengthen, we may continue to see pullback for gold, because, like I just explained, XAU divided by USD. So if I'm correct and dollar will continue to strengthen, then gold, silver will come under pressure. And the first target I'm looking at on the downside, well, before we get there, I think gold will retest this blue support resistance line. In fact, if we look at gold futures, this is gold futures, ticker symbol GC1 exclamation point. If we look at gold futures, we can see that it's happening as we speak. So gold is currently retesting this breakdown, and we will see if indeed gold has broken down. Ideally, there should be resistance here. We should not, get above blue line and continue higher. Will it actually happen? We will find out. So far, from the fundamental perspective, dollar seems to need to strengthen, because the way a Federal Reserve is acting, it is beneficial for the dollar right this instant. They're not really going to raise interest rate. They're not really considering lowering the interest rates that much yet. Or at least they're going to continue keeping the interest rates as it is, because the inflation is still pretty strong. And if they're going to cut the interest rates, then inflation will increase again. So it's a fine balance between increasing interest rates, or rather decreasing the interest rates and seeing inflation take off, and also between the not and between cutting the interest rates and seeing you know, or I'm sorry, if you just keep the interest rates as it is, then things could become more difficult for the economy. Economy might sputter, and I think that's what's happening. So we Federal Reserve is really caught between a very, a rock and a hard place. It's difficult for them to make any strong moves either way. So inflation needs to taper, but at the same time they need to keep the economy running. So we're seeing the effect of that difficult decision, difficult decisions. With gold, seems like it wants to go lower, but now we see inflation report pretty hot. So if the inflation is high, then gold should also benefit. Difficult situation. So at this point, we're not really trading gold really that much. I am personally out of all of my gold related positions for now. And let's briefly look at oil. So oil CL1 exclamation point continues to I'm going to look at a weekly chart of oil first. So oil really tried to get through. I'm going to kind of do that. Okay, so this area here of around 63 to about 60, maybe $70 seems to be holding. Okay, so oil has repeatedly attempted to get through that bottom layer, but bottom part. So like this 65 area, $65 area, look how many times oil tried to get through. One back in March of 2023, in May of 2023, again in June, in July of 23, and then again right there just a few months ago in December of 23, and it repeatedly failed to get through that level. So currently we can see that the oil, again, there's the attempt to get through that, around $67, $67 area, and it didn't get through. Technically speaking, oil still currently is in a downtrend. Notice this downward facing arrows, but the movement to the downside were really muted. So there's a good chance that we're going to be moving higher from here. So if oil gets more expensive, then things would get more expensive, obviously. So another oil shock, perhaps. There is a chance of that. This again shows that current state of the world, completely unrelated to stock market, but it is current state of the world is still dependent on hydrocarbons, and it's not a good situation to be in. Really, we need to see new energy sources, and fusion obviously is a really good energy source, but still in its infancy. So as much as we can get off oil addiction, I think world will be much better, a much better place. So that's an aside. Other than that, if you are not yet a subscriber, consider signing up by going to MasterChartsTrading.com. Click on sign up. Once again, I added yearly subscriptions. I think it's a very good deal, so consider signing up for the yearly subscriptions. You can also get the monthly subscriptions. As always, you get free trial for 7 days for all of my packages. So package number one I have is a trading indicators. So if you want to trade on your own, these indicators, this green, blue, red, and yellow lines are available for TradingView.com. It's very easy. Once you set up the TradingView account, you need a free TradingView account. Once you set that up, come to my site, MasterCharts Trading, sign up. I will open the door for you on TradingView.com. So you'll see the same indicators on your chart. It's really simple. It sounds complicated, but it's not. Newsletters, I send out daily alerts to my subscribers. I send out weekly members-only videos. So, for example, in this members-only video for this week, we'll cover all of these securities. and especially some of the speculative securities as well. So, for example, Baxter is coming up on a breakout. Recent alerts for Century Aluminum. And here's one that I'm sort of proud of. There's Nvidia. And Nvidia, this is an actual alert to my subscribers that was sent out in February of 2023. This position would have still been open because we would be trailing at the blue line. And notice the blue line has not been hit. So you are still open. And congratulations, you are up 244% on Nvidia. Can it drop? Absolutely. But for now, this is a very good gain, especially if you used options. So this is the indicators lines and the newsletters that I send out. Sign up. If you have any questions, let me know. Once again, my name is Alexander. Thank you for watching and have another great trading week. Bye-bye.